Okay. Hey. So many people. Very nice. Thanks for having me here. I think we're even kind of starting on time, which is super awesome, right? Yeah. 10 minutes late. I think that's considered not really rubber time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the one late.
Do we need this? No.
It's up to you.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
Otherwise I have to hello. So, my name is I think just turn it off. My name is Christian Schwanz, or in German we say Christian. People call me C. I'm actually a music producer in the first place, and I've been sort of producing music for 2 decades now. Released on various labels. I don't know, any one of you know the Berlin group Mode Selector?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I released on their label and various other labels, and so my journey has been music for quite a while now. Like starting in high school, at a school band, playing bass guitar, and my connection with Ableton started very early. In the year 2003, I was already giving workshops, and maybe before I go deeper in this whole Ableton story, who of you guys is in any way familiar with the brand Ableton? Anyone?
We use Ableton.
How good is everyone's English? My Bahasa sucks. Yeah. How is it okay that we talk in English, or should we have someone translate?
It's okay.
It's okay. Good. So, yeah, Ableton. What do you know about Ableton? I'm just gonna keep talking. Ableton produces.
Ableton like Big Wig.
Yeah, exactly. It also, yeah. But those of you who don't know, Bitwig is a company which sort of started after Ableton. Some people left Ableton and started another digital audio workstation, which is called Bitwig. And we wish them all the best. No harm. But yeah, Ableton makes the software, which we see here on the screen. Quite famous is this view here, which is called the session view, or something a little bit more familiar to things to people is a linear view, which is called the arrangement view. But all of this is Ableton Live, and what we see here in front of us is sort of Live 10.1. So in the beta version, which you can actually test yourself. So you can just go to ableton.com's website and right now do beta testing on 10.1. So this is also on the computers here. Feel free to try it out. Like each computer has two headphones, so you can try things out yourself. And if you're not so familiar to the push, once I show you some things, you can also just like try it out yourself. Yeah. Okay, so that's Ableton. It's a company from Berlin. The first version of the software came out in 2001, and then it sort of evolved from there, and as I just showed, now we're at 10.1. Basically, it's going to be officially released in March. So right now, yeah, it's really cool if people try it out and do beta testing, because that's how we find out how stable it is. Yeah? Okay. But Ableton does a few more things apart from the software itself. Ableton also produces this beauty here, which is called the push controller, and in this case it's right now we're at push 2. And maybe it's wrong to say it's a controller in that sense. It's a few more things than just a sort of MIDI controller. There's a lot of sort of information going through this USB cable, which allows us also to do a lot of, so to say, visualization on this little screen here. So, and it's something we rather like to call an instrument. And then there's another little thing which the company makes, and that one is integrated in Live itself, and you see it here. It says here link, and you might have also apps on your phones which are which have a function inside which is called link. And what that does is, or can I be the teacher guy again? Any one of you know what link does?
Yeah, you can link between different devices.
Exactly. So
different laptops. Yeah.
But that's actually not a new thing. We would always be able to link or to synchronize between different devices. Yeah. But the trick here is
we used to have like the Ethernet cable through.
Exactly. We used to run on something which is called MIDI clock, which made sure that one device is it's a bit of a colonial term, but one of the devices is the master, and the rest is the slave.
The slave.
Yeah. So, but and that what does that mean is if the master stops, the master usually never worked, right? Like only the slaves work. But like sort of if the master stops, all the other stuff, all the other devices in the circuit would also stop. Yeah. What link does is it's sort of using a network above all devices. It's a network you could create with your laptop or your phone. You create a hotspot, a network, and then anyone else could join in, and you can jam with each other in time. And the beauty is then, like, if you stop, I don't stop playing, just like a band, right? Like if the drummer stops, it would be stupid if everyone just stops. Like it might be a cool break, and then you join in on the downbeat. So that's something we could like maybe later also look at. But so these three products come out of the company called Ableton, which is from Berlin. I'm actually not living in Berlin. I live in Malaysia for 10 years now, and in like actually 2 years ago, Ableton started or opened an office in Tokyo, and this is the office for Asia Pacific. Okay. So and that's the office I work for, and on my card it says brand specialist, which is something like a product specialist, but also a brand manager. So and I take mainly care of South Asia and Southeast Asia, so all the way to Sri Lanka, technically Pakistan, but there's not much happening there. No, it's actually not true. It's actually, sorry, like I said something wrong. There's actually quite a nice scene in Karachi, but we don't really have any significant business there yet. But talent is everywhere, and yeah, so that's my story about me and Ableton. And what I mainly do is I travel around. So I was in Jakarta last year in February when we launched Live 10, and together with our distributor, which is called Chandracom, we did like a launch event, and this was also together with the so-called Ableton Live user group here in Indonesia. They actually already run since 7 years, so they actually even have a website called abletonIndonesia.com. It's a bit of a funny name, but we don't usually like to change things once they're running. We don't like to tell people how to change things. They're obviously not Ableton, but they're an Ableton user group, a live user group. And these user groups are popping up sort of all over the globe. And these user groups allow us to sort of hand the power over to you guys. So with this amount of people here in the room, and you all are sort of familiar with Ableton, this could already be a user group. What that means is you guys meet up on a casual, sometimes sort of schedule, and it's all about music making. You guys teach each other, you know, and then so that's something the company is doing. It just helps to start these user groups, and once they're running, they run on their own. So yeah, that was last year, my journey to Indonesia, and this is sort of now my second official journey for Ableton to be in Indonesia, and actually my first time with Ableton in Jogja, but not my very first time in Jogja. Actually, my sister-in-law lives in Jogja, so it's a familiar kind of stomping ground for myself. Yeah, so now you know who I am and what I do in the company. I certainly won't check whether you have a pirated version or not. we don't care about that right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very much.
And usually we don't even mention it at all, but I just heard through Wok, who actually organized this whole thing here with YY's studio, so thanks for that. And I heard there were maybe some people being afraid. We are not police, yeah? We don't, obviously, in the end, in the long term, if nobody buys our products, we're not going to be around for much longer. But we believe that this is an emerging market, and we believe in your talent, and we believe you should just sort of even learn more. And yeah, again, that's why I'm here. I do workshops all over the region, and I would like to now dive into a little track deconstruction first, which means usually we don't like to just sort of go through the devices and show you how cool Ableton is. We usually like to put an artist sort of where I'm sitting. Luckily I'm an artist myself, so I can just stay sitting here, and I can show you a song which I'm about to release very soon, and we can just look at sort of how I work in my arrangement ideas, and then we can look at some of the sort of separate tracks and see what kind of devices I use, and that's how you will get to know Live 10. Who of you, again, doesn't matter like how you got it, but who of you is using Live 10? One, two, so kind of like half the room. Others are actually using Live 9 or yeah? 8 even. Amazing. Yeah. So
Because the laptop.
so yeah, as I mentioned before, I maybe do a little presentation on Push itself. I want to just focus on a song arrangement. Here comes the thing. My joke with Pakistan was completely not valid, because in this song I'm actually working with a singer from Pakistan. So his name is Abdullah, and he is just sort of 20 years old and an extremely talented singer. And it's also a song which forced me to go a lot back and forth between the singer. And before I talk much longer, maybe we just listen to a few bars, maybe not the whole song, and then I start sort of unfolding it. So here it goes. The song is called Prosaic. And while I was playing it, I already started sort of to unfold what we call groups here. So the first group up here is called the beat group, and what the fun part here is, with Live 10 we started to have groups within groups. So now, and that can be very helpful. So now I could I have here 2 kicks, for example, actually another kick. I'm just gonna bring this up here, and I could have these 3 here, and I put Apple G and call this kicks. And now I could sort of, if I close my beat group, sort of in the beat group, I have another group just for the kicks. This can be extremely helpful if you have like certain elements which all need the same sort of treatment, and then sort of another overall group, and in this case my beat group, all runs through a device which is new to Live 10, and it's called drum bus, and it's this little thing here. And drum bus, I'm just gonna solo the beat here and play a little sort of loop here of the whole song. So I'm just gonna like sort of play around with these macros here a little bit. The first macro says drive, then there's crunch, damping, the transients, then there's something called boom, frequency, and so now I'm just gonna go through what they do. Well, of course, drive will just just one simple button to do a bit of compression on the whole beat, and then what's really doing a lot of like sort of detail work are these buttons here, which are called crunch, and then playing around with the transients. So a transient is in your sort of waveform, where the waveform sort of from 0 starts to go up. That's the transient. That's where sort of let's say a percussion sound, or like the actual clap sound, that's the transient, and then it has sort of something which follows after the tail, but the transient is the beginning. So if I can sort of dial in more transients or less. So I'm just going to play around with that a bit, and you can see what happens. Things I mentioned, the sort of the boom frequency and the amount of the boom. What's boom? Well, it's basically looking at your low ends. And I don't know if you guys sort of are sort of very comfortable with sort of mix down work. It can be very hideous, or it used to be very hideous, to fine tune the frequency of, let's say, your kick drum. Yeah. A kick drum has already so much harmonic information, it could completely sort of screw up your mix if it doesn't really work with the bass sound. Yeah. So in here, what I can now do is I can just literally dial into the frequency which I want. So I'm just gonna like play around with maybe I just wanna do it on the whole beat. So I can. drum, sort of take all the low ends out of it, then go grab a, I don't know, a sub bass or something, and find the right like the sort of the harmonically the right frequency for the rest of the song, and then sort of leave the rest of the kick still there without any low ends, and basically building another low end under it. But that takes quite a while, and let me tell you something. Even though we're making this and we keep improving the software, we are very well aware that making music is hard. It's not easy. This, yeah, makes it easier, but not that much. Like in the end, it's still you who has to put in the work, and it's still you who has to sort of keep you gotta stay focused, so to say. And the more steps we put into this work, the less likely it is that you stay focused. Yeah? Like science has proven that if you are in the so-called flow state of mind, that's when you are sitting there. Who of you plays the guitar? Any guitar players in the room? Or whatever instrument, yeah? When you play, or let's say, who drives a car? I drive a car. So, are you thinking about shifting gears, or is it just happening? Well, also, most of us probably have an automatic, but let's say we don't really think about the drive, right? Like we are in a flow, like unless we're like on the phone and all these nasty things. But basically, if we talk about flow state of mind, is where we don't really think about stuff, and that's when the real creative work happens, right? When we don't like, that's my sort of my idea with the guitar. When we don't look at the sort of chords we're grabbing, when it's just kind of happening, yeah. Then we're in a flow state of mind. And if we keep putting sort of steps into your flow state of, into your workflow, which get you out of that, it might take you up to 15 minutes to get back into this flow state of mind. That's definitely proven. That's why when we make music, yes, there's a lot of things we of course want to think of, but the most, like one of the most important things is also to make sure that you're not disturbed, that there is nothing else that you have to do right now. Maybe even your work space should sort of maybe, I don't know how you like it, it depends, but like it should be so you can stay in this flow state of mind. If somebody keeps calling you all the time, it's all gonna be gone. So in that sense, coming back to this drum bass here, allowing you to just dial into the low ends and then boosting it makes it of course a lot faster, and you don't have to take these steps of creating a clean kick drum by sort of the old method of doing it. Yeah. So, hey, by the way, if there's questions, I'd rather have you ask in between and not at the end, because definitely at the end you will have forgotten.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the different drum bass compressor and glue compressor?
Yeah. So a drum bass unites quite a few things. It unites that you are like in a compression, you're not playing around with the transients. Yeah. In a compression, you are only playing around with sort of the threshold of the compression, and then with the amount of compression. In the glue compression, it's just using algorithms which are from a few sort of hardware devices, and it also it again reduced the amount of things you can actually do with it, so it's quite straightforward. It's just another compressor. Like some people like the compressor, some people love to work with the glue compressor, and this one, as I said, like allows you to do this tuning with the low ends.